Hello class, today we are learning how to solve two-step equations again, and we're going to use that knowledge to transform two-step inequalities. So the essential question is, how do I solve two-step equations and inequalities? Okay, so your learning intention, I'm learning to solve two-step equations and using that knowledge to solve inequalities. Okay, from here down to here is your warm-up. To undo division, I need to what? To undo addition, I need to what? This is part of the solving the problem here. So pause the video and work down to here. I hope that you tried on your own, and I hope that you knew the correct answers. So please follow along as we check our answers. To undo division, I need to multiply. To undo addition, the opposite of addition is to subtract. Okay, so I'm looking over here now. The opposite of to divide by 2 is to what? Well, you multiply by 2 to undo it. 2 divided by 2 is 1. That is canceled out. 3x plus 6 is equal to 30. Okay, the next step is to undo adding 3. What is the opposite of adding 3? Well, the opposite of adding 3 is adding 6 is to subtract 6. The opposite of adding 6 is to subtract 6. And you do that on both sides. Okay. Positive 6 minus 6 is 0. I've zeroed it out on this side. 3x is equal to 24. Multiply by 3. I have multiplied by 3. 3x means I've multiplied by 3. So to undo, I what? Divide by 3. 24 divided by 3 is 8, so x is equal 8. Okay, so when we're looking at solving two-step equations, you have to think about the what operation that was done. You start with solving equations, you start at the last operation done and undo it. You are working in reverse order. Okay, what is this equation as a sentence? If I write this equation out as a sentence, what does that look like? Three is equal to x times x times 3, a number times 3, then I subtract 9. And multiplied is a better way to put times. Okay, so 6 is equal to 3 multiplied by a number, that's x, then subtract 9. What was the last thing done to x? Then subtract 9. What was the first thing done to x? So the first thing done was to multiply by 3. Okay, let's undo them. We have started at the end and worked to the beginning. The last thing was minus 9. How do I undo that? Well, you add 9 to both sides. 6 plus 9 is 15, which is now equal to 3x. What was the first thing done? Multiplied by 3. How do you undo multiplying by 3? You divide by 3. So 5 is equal to x. So as we're working through this, it doesn't matter how many steps there is. You always start with the thing that was done last and undo it. And you work in reverse order. Okay, let's look at the problem. Let's read it out loud. 6 is equal to a number divided by 4 plus 2 more. The last thing I said was plus 2 more. How do I undo that plus 2 more? Well, you subtract 2 from both sides. 4 is equal to a number divided by 4. A number divided by 4. What was the last thing I said? Divide by 4. How do I undo dividing by 4? I multiply by 4. 16 is equal to a. 4 divided by 4 cancels out. It makes a 1. When we multiply by 1, nothing changes. Okay, now we're going to look at how equalities and inequalities are the same. You solve them the same way. You reverse the order of what was done to x. So 5 plus some number, then I divide by 6. Then I divided by 6 was the last thing that I did. To reverse that, the opposite of division is multiplication. 6 times -1 is -6 is equal to 5 plus x. When we multiply and divide by 6, it undoes each other. Okay, next step, I've taken 5 and I've added it to x. Okay, this one's a little bit different because we want to remove the 5. It's a positive 5. What is the opposite of a positive 5? -5. So -11 is equal to x. Okay, so that's your equality. What do you think happens with the inequality? You go through exactly the same process. -1 is greater than or equal to 5 plus a number divided by 6. The last thing I did was to divide by 6. So to undo that, I multiply both sides by 6. 6 times -1 is -6. It's greater than or equal to. Multiplying by 6 and dividing by 6 cancels out. 5 plus x. This step, exactly the same. Next step is exactly the same. What is the opposite of positive 5? negative 5. What I do to one side, I've always got to do to the other. Negative 11 is greater than or equal to x. The only time you have anything you have to remember is that if you multiply or divide by a negative number, your symbol switches to the opposite. If you multiply or divide by a negative number, you switch the symbol around. Okay, pause the video. We'll go through the first one together, and then you can pause and see if you can complete the inequality on your own. So, order of operations. I'm going to distribute first. Two times n, 2n, minus 2 times 5 is 10, is equal to negative 2. Okay, next step. I've taken a number, multiplied it by 2, then subtracted 10. Subtract 10 is the last thing I did, so now I need to add 10 to both sides. The 10s cancel out. 2n is equal to negative 2 plus 10. They're opposite signs, so when I try to combine them, I have to subtract. 10 minus 2 is 8. Keep the positive sign because 10 is a bigger number. Okay, 2 times n is equal to 8. The opposite of multiplication is to divide. And n is equal to 4. Okay, pause the video and work through the next problem on your own. What does it look like? You've got the example right there. I hope you paused the video and tried. So, first thing is to distribute. 2 times n is 2n, minus 10 is greater than negative 2. Same thing, only I've got the greater than symbol. What do I do next? Well, the last thing I did, I took 2, multiplied with n, then I subtracted 10. Subtract 10 was the last thing, so it's the first thing I have to undo. Add 10 to both sides. This cancels out on that side. 2n is greater than 8. 2n, 8, 2n, and 8. Divide by 2. N is greater than 4. So you can see as you're doing the inequalities, the process is still the same. The problem is we need to get better at doing our arithmetic operations to undo. Success criteria, I know I'm successful when I can solve two-step equalities and inequalities. These are two-step equations.